Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and to another video. And okay, so a few videos ago, I slightly mentioned wanting to film a video on where I get my fashion inspiration. I made a video like this, I want to say like almost 2 years ago, and it was a really popular video. You guys really seemed to like it, and my style has changed since then. I feel like I was really into like 1960s stuff, so if you're into that kind of thing, I'm going to be linking that old video down below. I do look for inspiration in similar places, but through other people and other things, so I kind of just wanted to make a new video on where I get my current fashion inspiration from. Obviously, style is always evolving and changing, so you kind of pull inspiration from different places. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get right into it. For me, I feel like I get a lot of just fashion inspiration, or inspiration just in general, just from everyday life. So it could be a song. I feel like music for me is like a really big source of inspiration. I have this thing where I have to be in a particular mood to listen to music. I usually just live in like silence. But I feel like if I'm in the mood to actually listen to music, I'll like sit down and like listen to it. I don't know if that makes any sense. I feel like there's like some music that I listen to if I need like background sound music, and there's actually songs that I want to like sit down and actually like listen to. So I feel like sometimes I get kind of carried away in the song, and it kind of gives me a little bit of inspiration, so I kind of like sit there and like listen to it, and then it kind of like takes me into like scenarios in my head, and then I kind of pull inspiration from that. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, but I feel like I kind of do that in my own head. So that is like one source of inspiration. Or sometimes if I'm like walking around and I see a particular house or a particular color maybe, or a particular scenario, like I'll see people living their lives, and that kind of sparks a little bit of inspiration for me as well. So I just kind of pull from everyday life all the time. I know that's not very specific, and I can't really like tangibly share like or show you images of what that looks like. So that's kind of inspiration that just kind of like comes to me, like I'm living my life and like that inspiration is just kind of put in front of me basically. However, if I want to look for inspiration, I turn to Pinterest, and I feel like everybody goes on Pinterest to look for inspiration, and I feel like there's so many photos on Pinterest. I personally try to stay away from like celebrity photos. They are really fun to look at, and I'm gonna talk about that in a second, but I feel like if I am going on Pinterest, the main thing that I want to look at is like people that actually lived in that time. They were just like regular people like you and I, just like regular average people, like people's family members. I love looking at all those photos. I think I get so much inspiration, and you kind of see what everyday people actually lived like or looked like. It's kind of like how now when you see people and like celebrities and their hair is perfectly done and their outfits are perfectly like put together, and it's not what like the average person is wearing at the grocery store. You know what I mean? Specifically on Pinterest, I do like to look at photos from Life magazine, and particularly Nina Lean, because her photos from the 1940s and 1950s are just incredible. Like not only like is the photography very inspiring to me from like a photography creative aspect, but also the clothing is very wearable, and it's just there's such a big range of photos that there is. Like there's more high fashion stuff, and then there's also just photos of like college students, and you can kind of get like a really big range of what the clothing was like in that time period, which I find really interesting. And I don't know, just her style of photography is just very inspiring, so I always feel inspired once I've been looking at her photographs. Another thing that I really like to do is when I'm on Etsy, I spend way too much time on Etsy. Honestly, I should like disconnect my credit card from Etsy because I spend way too much time on there, and the more time I spend on Etsy, the more things I buy. Sometimes I'll find things that I really like, but I don't really know how to style them. So for example, I'll find a like 1940s fedora hat, just for example. So then I'll go on Pinterest and I'll type in 1940s fedora hat, and I'll try to find photos of people wearing hats like that from that time period, just to kind of see what things would be paired with it, just to see if it's something that could work into my wardrobe, or even I'll just kind of like fall down like a rabbit hole, and then I'll end up finding like a bunch of outfits that I really like. So I do like to use kind of Etsy and Pinterest kind of like hand in hand, just to see how I can kind of style certain outfits, because I don't want to buy something on Etsy that I know that I have no idea how to style, and then I don't end up wearing it because I don't know how to wear it, you know? There are also a few actresses that I look for fashion inspiration. So one being, of course, Vivian Leigh. You guys know how much I love Vivian Leigh. Honestly, if I could look like anybody in the world, it would be Vivian Leigh. Like I wish I look like that. She rose to fame in Gone with the Wind. Of course, I feel like that's kind of like her biggest movie. However, my personal favorite is Waterloo Bridge. If you haven't seen it, highly, highly recommend. So she was active until 1967, I believe, but she was mostly known for her movies in the 1930s and 1940s. So another person that I look to for fashion inspiration is Jean Tierney, and she was an actress from the 1940s. I believe she acted until 1980, and she was mostly famous for the movie Laura and Leave Her to Heaven. I love Leave Her to Heaven. That one scene where she's on the train and she like has the magazine and she looks up. I mean, again, if I could look like anybody, if it's not Vivian Lee, it's gonna be Jean Tierney because she's absolutely stunning and I love her fashion. Like her outfits are just always so cute. Another person that I look to is Ginger Rogers. She's an actress and dancer from the 1930s and 1940s. You guys have probably seen so many of her movies with Fred Astaire. I love her style. It's very like feminine and girly. I just love the femininity aspect of it. I feel like a lot of fashion nowadays doesn't have those like really frilly feminine aspects of it, which I really, really love. Another place that I get inspiration from is of course on social media. There are so many girls on Instagram and on YouTube that put together like the most amazing outfits. If you go through everybody that I follow on Instagram, there's like so many of them, but if you go through them, you will find so many amazing girls there that put together the most amazing outfits. I think I'm going to be doing another video on this because I did 2 videos a while ago on Instagram accounts that I really liked, so I think I'm going to be doing an updated one. So if you guys want to see that along with like a YouTube channels to watch, I think I'm going to put it all together. If you guys want to see that video, let me know in the comments below because there are just so many. I could just sit here the entire day and just talk about all of them. So I feel like it's better if I do that in a separate video. But in the meantime, if you want to go through everybody that I follow on Instagram, you'll find some really amazing accounts on there. And then last but not least is of course movies. You guys know how much I love movies and the film industry and just like movie magic. It just kind of like takes me away a little bit. I love movies. I do like to watch movies from the 1930s and 1940s because I always find some form of fashion inspiration in there. I'm not going to list every single movie, but just if you start watching 1930s and 1940s movies, you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about. Like there's just so many amazing fashion moments in there. There's also a lot of modern movies that give me fashion inspiration. So for example, for 1940s, there is The Notebook. I love Ali's outfits. I would wear every single one of them. I think they're so cute. So for 1930s, there is, if you have Amazon Prime, watch The Last Tycoon. I am so upset that it got cancelled after the 1 season because it ended on a cliffhanger. I mean, I have read The Last Tycoon by Fitzgerald, so I know what happens, but the fashion was just so amazing that I'm really, really sad that they cancelled it. It was really unfortunate, but it does have really great fashion, so it's definitely worth watching if you have Amazon Prime. Then there is also, what was it? I think it was on Netflix and it was Hollywood, I think it was called, that had really amazing fashion as well. For 1930s. Oh, okay, so this one is more of like a fun, like lighthearted movie, but Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day. If you guys haven't seen that, Amy Adams' character has the most amazing fashion, and then also Lee Pace in that movie is like amazing. So definitely watch it if you are into that kind of thing. However, the movie doesn't have to be set in the 1930s or 1940s to give me inspiration. I do look to other time periods as well. So for example, Downton Abbey always gives me inspiration for the spring and summer because they wear all those like really pretty frilly little blouses, especially in the 1st and 2nd season. So the color palettes and everything always gives me a lot of like spring inspiration. Another example would be like Grease, 1950s. It always gives me inspiration because the outfits are just so cute that I always want to wear something from the movie every time that I watch it. What else? Brooklyn, also 1950s inspiration, really amazing outfits in that movie and just a really good movie in general, but the outfits are really nice as well. So yeah, that is basically all the places that I look for inspiration to create my outfits. It's really, really personal. I feel like it's really hard for me to share what gives me inspiration, so I hope this video was helpful. I try to make it really nice and short because I feel like I could also write this down in a blog post and it doesn't have to be like a lengthy video. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you have any other tips or ways that you find inspiration, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!